In this lesson, we'll create a nice looking dust and dirt material you can use to add a little bit of realism to your renders. You'll be able to mix it with different materials and change the strength of the final effect. Note from me, I will show you where to look for the new nodes we haven't introduced in this course yet or just mentioned, so it will be ambient occlusion and map range. I'm sure you know where to find the texture and mix color or any ramp nodes by now, so let's start. We will divide the process into two parts. First, we'll make the dirt appear in the crevices and below the object, and then we'll also add some dust and dirt on the top of the surface of our object. We already have the base principled shader, so let's start with the dirt in the crevices. We will use two ambient occlusion nodes. You can find it in Shift A, Input, Ambient Occlusion. This node can be used for procedural texturing, for example to add weathering effects to corners only or where two surfaces are in contact with each other. To make this node less expensive for computing, we will change samples amount to 8. One at the top will be responsible for crevices, so we'll turn the inside option on and set the distance to something like 0.33. The bottom one will show the occluded dust, so we'll only change the distance to something like 0.29. Now, to combine both effects, we'll use Mix node with blending set to linear align, as it works best by combining both of these. And we need to remember about clamping the result, because it exceeds 0 to 1 range. We will also change the factor to 1 for a better contrast. We can see that we have a nice darker areas where the dirt and dust should appear, so now we need to make it look more organic. We will use noise texture and mix node set to screen to combine them together. It's not necessary, but I think it looks better when we'll plug the AO output from the second ambient occlusion node to the factor. Now we can see a nice noise in the areas where we put our ambient occlusion nodes. The last step for this part is to add a color ramp and experiment a bit to make the result more contrasted, so I will add another point and change the color to gray and adjust the white and black values. I will drag the black to 0.35 and the gray value somewhere between black and white will add more coverage of our dirt. We will change parameters for the noise because the default one is too big, so let's set the scale to 31, details to 5, roughness to 0.6 and maybe lacunaridity to 2.7. And the crevices and occlusion dirt part is done. Now let's go up in the shader editor and create a dust that will settle on top of the surfaces. To achieve this effect, we'll need a geometry and separate XYZ node. And because we want the dust on the top, we want to take only the Z value. Here we'll use the noise texture too, because the Z output of the separate XYZ node is too uniform and we need to make it look like a dust. So let's add a noise texture and adjust the values to our liking. I think that scale about 5.5 and detail somewhere around 4 and 0.75 for roughness will look nice and natural. Maybe I will add a tiny bit of distortion too. Let's use 0.1. Perfect. Lacunaridity looks okay, so let's leave it as it is. Now we'll use a math node and subtract the noise. I will turn on clamping because we might need it. And it looks like heavy dust covering the objects, and we need to invert the color because we don't want the rest of the object to be totally black. So let's add another color ramp and invert the black and white. Again, we'll adjust the color ramp and now we just need to connect both bars together. So another mix color node, this time with multiply blend mode to make it more contrasted, And we can see that both parts of our shader are working nicely. I will use the crevices dirt at the top and dust at the bottom because I want to control the amount of dust later. Now let's do some fine tuning. We need to set the base color, roughness, and normal map for our dirt, and because our output is black and white, we can easily adjust it to make all these. Starting with base color, or more like a tint of the dust and dirt, another mix color node with multiply blend mode. This time we'll just blend it with a color. I will go with light brown and the factor set to close to 1, but you can choose whatever you want and we can connect it to the base color in the principled shader. Next, we need roughness, and here we need to invert the output because the layer of dust and dirt is darker, what means it will be more glossy. So we are using the invert node from Shift A, color, invert color, and now the dirt is rough as it should be. And lastly, we want some bump, just a tiny bit, so we'll add bump node and connect the blended dust and dirt to the height input, invert it because it's concave now, and change the strength to something like 0.1, and connect it to the normal in principled shader. We don't want our dust to be super bumpy, so obviously we need to change the strength, not distance, my bad. One thing I actually forgot about when we started is to use object coordinates for both of our noise textures. So let's add texture coordinate and mapping to both of these. And now the material will be uniform for every surface. For now, it might look weird because everything has light brown color and it's extremely glossy. But no worries, we can use the output we created, the base color, roughness, and normal from, for masking. So let's say that we are using some kind of a rose gold material which has been in one place for definitely too long and it's all dusty and dirty. So we can add another principled shader and change the metallic to 1, lower the roughness, and change color to the rose gold, and add a mix node to blend our material with the gold. It looks like nothing really changed, but now we can connect the mix of our dust and dirt to the factor input, and it's working. Now we can also adjust some color ramps to get the desired result, change colors, and do all the fine tuning. After creating this material, try to put nodes in frames together like we did in the previous course, and name them to make the whole node tree look clean. You can do it for the next ones too, so let's go create some marble and sand.